doesn't need state spec asphalt, they don't mess around like, they don't
They
even
just make
spec
one,
it, just
yeah.
make one
Yeah.
product.
That makes sense.
Yeah, cause they can't afford
Yeah,
not to.
it's easier that way.
It's always being
Yeah.
constantly heated and
Right.
mixed and all
Yeah.
that, and then they'll put the chemicals
Well,
in when it goes in.
Yeah, they
for
can be,
hardeners
they
and
can be
stuff.
consistent that way too.
Exactly, cause that's what the key is,
Yeah.
consistency.
Absolutely. Speaking of projects, Grapevine Road.
Yep.
I know, I learned it last year, and I think Tom might have learned it, and I don't know if maybe Bob has, that when we're doing projects of any significance of that nature, that where it's gonna change the course of the road.
Yep.
You as road agent are supposed to take and submit send everybody on that road a letter stating what's gonna happen and all that good stuff by RSA. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I thought when, yeah, I didn't realize that, I
Yeah.
thought when we, did the public hearing, we covered all that.
No, not as I understand it, so we gotta find out chapter and verse and and try to get on board with, and, cause now we know about it, we have to follow the law, you know, we can't ignore it.
Yeah, but some, I mean, well,
You said it's in the hard roads to travel?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in that,
Changing the height of the road.
It had to do with the elevation, I don't remember all the
Exactly.
details, it had to do with the grade and
yeah, I think it's,
I
elevation.
mean, are we talking going to the level where we gotta have an engineered plan, or?
no, just a letter to all the people that live on the road,
Just
the advisors,
advising them.
advising, this is what we're gonna be doing and
Yeah.
how we're gonna do
Yeah.
it, and we're gonna be, you know,
Yeah.
the RSA probably gives you more detail, but.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, usually if it's one, we're doing something that's, well, in my opinion, of course, my opinion doesn't really count here, is, significant, like cutting, I wanna cut a bunch of trees and
That's all
a bunch of
part of it.
trees and stuff like
I
that.
Yeah.
I knock on the door and talk to them, walk through it all,
Noticed of
but
any kind of repairs or.
typically we don't.
Just because the RSA is there and they don't follow it, I mean, they're not, I don't know.
I wonder if those big signs that say road work
I don't.
beginning
Mhm.
June
Yeah, if that's a
15th,
notifier.
if
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah, I
notifier,
don't know. Maybe.
because I've seen those
Yeah,
in my
I
neck
don't
of the
know.
woods.
Cause I mean, I remember, you know, when Steve Buckley mentioned it in that, the municipal association class there for selectmen, it's like, and this was, or how road to travel, as a matter of fact, I was sitting with Ted at the time, and it's like, we look at each other, it's like, we didn't do that, no, we didn't.
Well, up by your house, Tom, I mean, we really, to
Yeah.
be honest with you, didn't know exactly what we were gonna do there till we got in and reclaimed it. and-
Yeah,
And saw what was underneath, I mean, in one area, the old Route 13 was there. And then they just filled on top of it and created a sandwich, which was typical during that late fifties era or early sixties when they did it.
Mhm.
I mean, to be honest, I mean, we do tweak it a little, I
Yeah.
mean,
if it's my side of the road, there's not a problem, 'cause I'm on the, uphill or
Yeah.
side, but I know on the other side, it's causing problems.
yeah, well, that, you know, the other issue is too, is a lot of these roads from left to right can vary a
Oh, yeah.
foot.
Yeah,
And when we're gonna go do this work, we try to get it back to get the even crown, and then
yeah,
a lot of times it changes that significantly.
yeah.
You know, and I mean,
I mean,
you know, a lot of people built houses and constructed them, and they haven't used the best judgment when they did it. I mean, the house is lower than the road to start with and everything else, and that, I understand that exasperates the road. Whatever I'm trying, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any difference, you know. Yeah, I mean, if that's.
We know what you mean.
If that's what we gotta do, I mean,
yeah, just,
but you know, the thing is though, overall,
mhm.
someday this road agent position is gonna turn into a full-time job.
Well, there's
Going
a
to
lot of
meetings and doing stuff like that.
There's a lot of towns that are doing away with the elected and going to.
Yeah, I
full-time.
know, I mean, it's a pretty big deal.
Mhm.
I mean, it would be a pretty big deal for this town. I mean, as I,
Understand.
financially, I mean, if that's what we wanna do, that's, and I'm sure at some point we're gonna be forced into it. Cause I don't know how many people there are around that, like me, that are interested in doing this stuff.
Well, I mean, to be honest, with you, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
fortunately, you come with qualifications, but anybody can be elected road agent.
Yeah,
I mean, even Tom or myself could be elected
Yeah.
road agent.
God forbid.
I mean, just cause I have a CDL in my pocket doesn't mean I know
Yeah.
how to do everything.
well, yeah, I mean, but
Yeah.
the town tried to get away from that a few years ago, wow. Probably what was
Yeah,
it,
but it-
12 years ago, the year before I came in, and they would go to an appointed
Mhm.
position, and they got that turned down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the other thing is, I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, and I mean, I think this is a good discussion, cause
Yeah.
the town should come up with more of a direction than we've got. You know, but
Mhm.
the other thing to bear in mind is, basically, myself,
Mhm.
I bring this isn't real value. To replace this equipment that I have available to work for the town is not brand new. It's all used, it constantly needs repairs and works. But to replace that with new equipment is about $1 million.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then you have to also hire more help. So it's a big, you know, the town has to really sit down and analyze. I'm not saying it's not the right way to go. And I'm sure with the people that are moving to town, they come from areas where they already have things like that. And they really don't have a clue of what the highway department is and how it functions. It's just, they don't, you know. So, but it's gonna be a substantial step for the town.
Well, as we learn more and more about the, you know, the RSA's we have been following for years, because, you know, ignorance is bliss, I understand, but, you know, things are gonna evolve and change. The outside world, even though we're a small town, is gonna take and force us to do things that we probably aren't gonna like.
Yeah, but like I said, it's just, you know, the
You know,
cost
we gotta be
factor
aware
of
of it.
everything is, gets to the point. I mean, the other thing is, you know, way around it is just don't do anything except for pave over what's there. And that's not always the best.
That's
Yeah,
not
I will
good.
say.
You know, I mean, that's not a good value for your dollar all
No,
the
it
time.
isn't.
Sometimes you have to because, but no, I mean, it's all stuff, but like I said, it's just, it gets,
You know, we don't write the RSA's, but, you know, when we find out
Yeah.
about them, I mean, we're obligated to follow them once we
Yeah.
know about them.
yeah, like I said, nobody's, like I said, 12 years, the first I heard of that, so. That's what we gotta do, that's what we gotta do.
Just a paperwork, you know, thing to follow, you know, just one of those little check off things to get it done out of
Yeah.
the way. But we'll have to find the RSA and we can
Yeah, it's fine.
follow it. So. Anything else?
Yeah, like I said, I thought, that's why when I started, that's what the deal was, they told me, the selectmen at the time, that we do that public hearing, basically, to cover all that stuff, but yes, it doesn't.
Speaking of that, well, the exaction fee, we're finding out that by rights, we're supposed to do it through town meeting and such like that, so it's kinda gonna be tricky. Possibly, we'll have to wait for legal counsel to advise us, but I mean, you know, with the public hearing that you'd hold, and then with the budget being passed at town meeting and everything, which includes those repairs that you plan on doing, it may cover us, we don't know, but that may have to change down the road too, on how we present stuff.
Yeah, I
To
mean,
cover the town
yeah,
for those kind of issues.
we've talked about that exaction fee and beat it around forever, and to date, we've only had 2 exaction fees paid.
Right.
And we haven't spent the money on either of them yet.
I have a question about that, typically, you wouldn't budget to spend an exaction fee if you haven't done the work, and supposedly you can't spend the exaction fee unless you've done the work.
Well, that's
See what
all
I'm
it is, I
saying?
think with the go, you know.
How can you say,
Yeah, you kinda,
you can't say, I'm gonna use this, like, 574,000, because we're gonna use 4,000, I don't think
It's
that,
like when you, I think the purpose is like when you're doing the budget, you know, you say, okay, you know, we're gonna do road repairs, and these are the roads we're gonna do, and this is the work we're gonna do, and you actually have a plan written out, you know, in detail, and says, I'm gonna do Kelsey Road hypothetically, I'm gonna do this, and this, and this, and this, and you have a good estimate, you know, between the drainage and the materials and the labor, it's gonna cost, well, just for easy math, say $20,000. You know, and out of that 20,000, the exaction fee may, you know, percentage wise could be, you know, half of that, say $2,000, cause you have more work to do after that. And that's what goes through the budget process and thus town meeting.
really,
That's the way I interpreted the way the RSA is reading, and, you know, but
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I have a feeling it's not gonna be too far off.
But the number comes up with through the planning board.
Right. You know, that portion.
And that's
is
how,
correct, but-
Guile Hill Road, that's how we came up with that number, because I grafted an estimate to do certain improvements to that, and then it went through on the Chan property, and that's how it was based on that.
Right.
Dave Knoll's particular, same thing with the planning board.
Yep.
Removing some rock in the front before Dave's lot, and digging the ditch out and upgrading the culvert went across by his property. We haven't done anything with the culvert yet, but we did that, some other stuff, and we did some other things, but, I mean, I don't know, I don't know anything about the real technical part.
Well, we're learning as we go.
Alls I do know is you can't use it on another road, it has to be used on one that,
That's correct.
right,
and it can't be
But the-
used for a fire truck or anything else,
But then
it's
again,
gotta be
purpose.
related with that.
Right.
The work you've already done on Kelsey Road would be, you know, actually probably legitimate for the exaction
Yeah.
fee for Knowles, because you've widened it, you've
Yeah.
put more shoulders in there, made it, you know,
Yeah,
so all that work is still.
yeah, that's what I mean,
Right.
and I mean, I was under the impression that you couldn't just, you had to spend some town money with it. You
Right.
can't just take that and say,
Exactly,
you know, we're gonna get us this, and this together, and then, all right,
Exactly.
we're gonna spend that just on, it has to be in conjunction with.
well, I guarantee you we'll be an expert by the time we get done, 'cause
You know, it's not
we've
gonna
done
be,
it for
I mean, hopefully, the advice we get is correct.
Yep.
I mean, that's always a crapshoot. I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes it depends whose lawyer's better, but,
Yeah, it's all up to the judge, and the judge will determine that.
well, yeah, not with the exaction fee,
Yeah,
but,
well, no, with the exaction, that's what we're
Okay.
going for on that.
Yeah.
all up
Souls.
here, yeah,
Yeah.
Souls is,
yeah, yeah, that'll be interesting.
so.
Yeah, I don't know, I mean, it's just,
I think.
we thought, when we came up with it, we thought it was a reasonable alternative
Mhm.
to help offset some of the increased costs on these
Absolutely.
substandard roads. I mean, you know, a perfect example is, Rangeway Road.
Mhm.
There's like 14 homes down there now. I mean, it's just evolved into a development
Mhm.
on a lane or a lane and a half wide road. It's just, and we've been trying to upgrade it, made it better because the demands on the road are.
Originally, it was probably no better than a class 6 road.
Yeah, exactly, and I mean, that's how it started, and it's, and the demands on that particular road, for a gravel road are unbelievable.
Yeah.
The number of traffic, the cars, trips in and out at the end of the day. I mean, we had the counter there a couple of years ago, they tracked it just, I can't remember what the number was. But I mean,
No.
so,
Mhm.
the exaction fee was kinda thinking, well, that'll help alleviate some of those issues.
Absolutely.
Cause we're not bringing them up to the typical class
Mhm.
5 standards.
It's difficult to understand how the formula is created for the exaction fee that's applied by the planning board for work that they don't know you're gonna do on a road.
Well, like I said, with the,
Well, nice thing is he sits on the planning board now.
well, the
Well-
thing on Guile Hill, we did, I put an estimate together to upgrade some culverts, there's a couple that drop right down on the side of the road, they don't really have rock headers on them, little things like that, add a layer of gravel, cut some trees, and I mean, I forget what, I got the paperwork at home, and we're at a stumbling block between the planning board and the selectman's office, because they didn't, in the chans, and so we found out about that and applied that, and I came up with that number, and then the planning board, basically Ken Swayze for the most part, because he was heading the thing off.
He's also an engineer too.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
they took the number of lots that the Chans were subdividing, and then there's another large lot across the street. And I mean, you can sit there and say, all right, you can take 300 feet, go right down the road until you've used all the frontage up, right?
Mhm.
And the lines are all larger than 5 acres, so you can say they're gonna come up with X number of lots. So if you put those two together and divide it into that other number, and that's how they came up with it, I think it happened to be 4,000 there. It wasn't quite, it was similar on Souls, on Holmes Road, and it was basically just from notes of mine, because at the planning, I wasn't on the planning board then, but I was attending all the meetings. The biggest complaint or issue we had was it was a narrow road, and some of the planning board members were uncomfortable with increasing the traffic on the narrow road. I mean, in that situation, that's, at this point, it's coming to bite us in the butt. I mean, I think the best thing to do there would have been just deny the subdivision. There'd be no house there, would've been no exaction fee. Cause that, I mean, the planning board was trying to help them build a house on a class 6 road, whereas if,
it didn't exist,
yeah,
that's the key. It
yeah,
wasn't there.
that was the road was there, nobody really knew it was until they brought it.
The lot wasn't there, the
Yeah, the
new
lot wasn't there, it was already one large lot,
Mhm.
and they chose to subdivide it into just 5 acres
Mhm.
and have remainder, so.
Yeah.
You know, it's kinda, in hindsight, you know, it's like anything else, you really, yeah, well, geez, we shouldn't have done that, but I mean, they're trying to,
Whether we should have
work
done
it
or not,
through.
I mean, probably should have done the, due diligence and put the process in place,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we, you know, when you did the work, we pulled the money out and did
Yeah.
everything by the book.
Yeah, no, I
And
understand.
then we wouldn't, you know, it'd be less apt to have any,
I mean,
Questions?
Lean and I had talked about it, I mean, it was kinda in a limbo type thing.
oh, absolutely.
And, you know, as you know the whole history of it, there were some selectmen on the board at the time, and they didn't agree with it, and they were looking at a different end result of the whole thing, and
Yeah.
obviously that's changed,
Mhm.
so, but you're right, I mean, I agree with that. We gotta figure out what that system is, and
Right.
maybe through the help of the court or whatever, we'll know, and maybe we'll all be wrong and we can't do anything. We'll just go back to the way it was.
Never know, you know, I mean, they may come out pretty good too, you never know, you know,
Yeah.
just have to fix some, you know, some procedures and,
Yeah.
I don't know,
It was all new, so.
yeah, exactly. Well, we'll learn.
But no, I didn't realize that about actually submitting a formal letter.
Yeah, I didn't know, until this recently myself, so.
Yeah.
By the time you were already knee deep into Grapevine Road last year,
Yeah.
it was kind of a moot point at that point.
Yeah,
This is a different year,
yeah,
different section, so.
and this section isn't gonna change much. I mean, we're not adding on as much gravel as like we did on Burnham Lane and stuff. Down through there, it's just
The hardest part's done already.
yeah, and for the most part, it's open spaces, there's only.
Mhm.
Last year, we'd only affected 11 driveways total, so it wasn't really. And some of those were insignificant,
Mhm.
couple of them we made better.
Don't tell that.
You know, I mean, just the process made it better. Not,
At the end of mine.
yeah, that's what I mean,
Doesn't wash out anymore.
like I said, it was,
It's a washout all the time.
it was, it improved it, I mean,
Mhm.
not,
Oh, that's all it is, to try
yeah,
to
it did,
convert
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
what's happening now, if you were, like to go to Goffstown or anything else, everybody has a curb in front of their driveway.
Yeah.
They do more of that, they do more curbing to keep the water in the road, so it all stays on the town property, the designated areas.
Mhm.
I'm not a big fan of curbing in the country, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know
a
how
tough
that's,
plow.
yeah, I don't know how that's gonna hold, it appears to be working pretty well for them
Yes.
so far, but it's another issue.
Yeah, you start putting curb, and that's an added addition to that contract we just took and, cause now you gotta have a machine come in and put in curbing.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they, Goffstown has in-house engineers that do
Right.
all the design and all that stuff for them, which,
Yeah.
I mean, if we go to that route, we're gonna have to hire,
And I think.
which doesn't make it wrong, but it's just an
No.
added expense.
My personal opinion, and this is just my opinion, my 2 cents, is that you start adding curbing out in the roads out in here, it takes away that small town thing, you know, you're starting to look more like a
Yeah, I agree.
mechanized,
I personally, I like the
Yeah.
stone walls and stuff, and just,
absolutely.
you know,
It's the character.
Yep.
as much as we, I mean, what they are is what they are, but,
Exactly.
and most of them are, for the most part, and some roads are gone, but they're pretty intact around here. When you get on it, for the most part. Alright, well, I've taken enough of your time, because,
You will, something?
Well, I have something for you.
yeah,
This past weekend, on, my side of Grapevine, and on the opposite side as you get on the north end of Grapevine. A lot
yes,
of, knotweed growing in there.
Oh, that's right, yes.
So I went in and hand pulled it all out.
Well, you fucked it up.
In the area where that is, it's all, new dirt, you know, it isn't, because it wasn't there before, so I was kinda wondering, where we're getting the, you know, that dirt from that we're using to pull in there.
that's
And that
stuff,
looks like the only place too, Jeff, I went for a walk today down,
yeah,
Grapevine, and down by Frost House, there's
Yeah.
a hillside, so that's been there for a while.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any, I was trying to pay attention to, the roadside, you know, what was there, and for the most
Yeah.
part on Grapevine, it's all gravel.
Yeah.
It wasn't until you get up into that little section there of, Burnham Lane where it's more than just gravel,
Where
it's
it's been
gravel
filled
and
in,
paved,
yeah.
but then it's been kind of filled over the top, so it seems like all of that is new and
yeah,
you know, I went through it and I filled a trash bag with it, and I'm just concerned that, you know, very fast growing, it's big.
Well, it's invasive and
Invasive, and I
and
know that back in the day, the farmers used it, you know, to create privacy between their properties, and that's how it all got started here, and, you know, it provided shade, cause there weren't any trees and what have you, but this stuff is bad news.
Oh, I know,
What's
I
it
mean, it
called?
basically
It's Japanese knotweed. Yeah,
looks
it's
like
very-
bamboo.
Yeah, it looks like bamboo.
Oh.
You- And the state's kinda fighting that fight right now,
Oh,
I know
yes,
that
we've been fighting for
down,
years, it's in
yeah.
all our contracts.
yeah,
If the, I mean, I actually had a few, on my fuel site, it's in my fuel contracts.
yeah,
To the point where if knotweed shows up from, cause they have to grass and seed, you know, lumen seed the,
Right.
areas that they
Yeah.
disturb. If it shows up, they're on the books, they're coming back, if it's 10 years down the road, they still come
Yeah.
back and they're pulling it by hand or
yeah,
however they wanna
and
do
that's
it.
what you have to do with it, you know, you got, and June is a good time to catch it, cause it's just starting. So I spent some time, you know, fishing through that, I'm just kinda curious where that soil's coming from, cause the soil would already have had it in it,
from our illustrious town.
yeah.
We, a lot of times when we're
That's
doing
what I was
this,
afraid of.
no, I mean, it is.
That's how it
everywhere.
gets spread around, I mean,
Yeah.
it's cause you dig it up somewhere and you
Yeah,
put it in
we
storage
stockpile the
and-
loamy stuff to use
Yeah,
in a
and then it
situation
gets
like
used
that.
again.
Contrary to popular belief, that's what we do with it.
I'm surprised.
I don't sell it on the side or anything, so,
Yeah, but just the, you know, the
Yeah.
moving of that around, I mean, it's a problem, you know, it really
Yeah.
is.
yeah, but I just, even the birds
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
transport it, I mean,
But I was glad not to see it on Grapevine, cause I was paying particular attention to it today. When I was out, I, you know, kinda slowed my walk down and was, you know, looking, but really, the only place I noticed it was down by Frost, but it's up on an embankment, and I think it's been there since, you know, for a long
Yeah.
time. So that wasn't new, but this stuff up on my.
we didn't buy it from a vendor or anything, it's salvaged stuff from around different
Yeah.
areas, and I mean, a lot of times you don't even know it's in
No,
there.
well, you would've only if you saw it when you were pulling
But
it out of
also,
where it came
yeah,
from.
but also it kinda, that root goes in for a long ways.
Long way, yeah.
You can't cover it over and expect it to
No,
go away.
no,
It
if you
just
pull it out,
grows.
you can,
If you cut it, the stuff will discreet grow back,
Right,
even
but
from
it-
the shoots itself that you cut and
Right.
remove.
but if you get it out by the root, you can, you know, like lay it out on the blacktop, for example, or something. You can dry it in the sun and then you can compost it. But, if you take it and it's still viable, it'll grow,
Yes.
yeah, stuff like that.
We got a couple spots where it's pretty bad, we just go through several times a year. Just
Yeah,
cut
well,
it.
it's on Route
cut it
13, there's a
later.
couple of great spots too, as you're coming up the hill. You know, the sticks
This
out.
place on Grove Pond Road is pretty prevalent, we just cut it several times a year.
Yeah,
I have it all over
Leave it
my
right
phone,
there.
I can't get rid of
There's
it.
one over on, but,
yeah, well, I just,
yeah,
Mhm.
that's where,
like to be careful with that kind of thing, cause, I don't wanna see, I mean, we pay a lot of money to clean up Gorham Pond. I would hate to have to be doing the same thing to clean up the streets of Dunbarton.
I mean, I know if it's in your yard, if you just keep mowing it, eventually you get ahead of it.
Yeah, you gotta keep it down.
That's impossible to do that on the
Yeah,
side.
no, I understand, yep, just hate to see.
Now,
it.
wasn't the state, they
Spray.
were, I thought they were messing around with some spray on 101 to help.
They may have, I don't know.
I heard, I mean,
Mhm.
spot spraying, it was in
Yeah, they did,
a monitored test program.
yeah, they did, it was on 101, they did knotweed and I think poison ivy and stuff like that, I haven't heard any results on it yet.
I mean, and nobody likes to hear that because it's,
What they need is a bug that'll chew it up.
Yeah, well then that'll be an invasive species that,
Yep,
you know, starts.
Well, no, when the knotweed's gone, so is the bug.
Yeah,
What is the actual name of that?
Japanese knotweed.
bless you.
Knotwood,
Knotweed.
Weed.
knotweed.
alright,
As kind of on the same venue, I can give you a
Yeah.
heads up that DES is, working with the DOT and it won't be too far down the road that the towns are gonna get hit with it too. Catch basin cleaning, stitching, sweeping, all that kind of stuff you do on the side of the road, that stuff is gonna be regulated, or probably technically
Yeah.
already is regulated, give you a heads up.
Yeah, the disposal of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, cause it's full of God knows what.
Exactly. Catch basin cleaning is the biggest one, because it's wet, you
Yeah.
know, and it's also being a low area. If you could have, you know, a fuel spill, an oil spill, or something of that nature. Ditching and sweepings are a little less of a problem, but they still can be, and, you know, we're doing testing now. Oh God, everywhere and then some, we're doing testing that they can actually get data for the environmental services, so they can make a determination on how best that they can handle this stuff. This is a bunch of other states that are out there, they're hammering their towns and the DOTs unmercifully DES is trying to take a hands-off approach, and so let's get the data first, so just give you a heads up, it's gonna be coming down the
Well,
road.
our catch bases is mostly the oil from the road is
Yeah,
what they
exactly.
key, because you get that runoff.
So, yeah, and there's a way to take care of that too, we have to make it like, it's like a sealed area with, you know, put in like,
It's got a hood that's on there, and it's made for that.
yeah, and you just, you know, put it in there, and that way it lets it dry and all that stuff, and you just kinda keep it contained right there.
What, they built like a lagoon,
Yeah, kinda like a, you know,
kinda like swimming pool,
yep, like a
with a
swimming pool.
liner on it?
Yep, and then you put it full of, mulch, you know, like
Yeah,
chippings
things
and
that
stuff
suck
like
it
that.
up.
Yep,
With chips.
and then throw it out there, let it dry out, turn them over and all that kinda stuff, and keep it going, you know, and keep doing it. So, but just give you a heads up that maybe coming
Yeah.
down the road, so you may
I
wanna
know.
kinda keep track of that in the back of your mind. 'Cause someday we may have to ask you that officially, what's going on with it.
Yeah, just another thing.
Well,
I
we do the
noticed-
catch basin thing, we always hire Belmore.
Right, do they take it with them?
Sometimes they do, sometimes we dumped it.
Just a heads up too, when I was out walking on, Tenny, where it's paved down by, Abutis Farm, looks like there's a couple of sinkholes
Sinkholes.
starting, oh, you saw those, okay.
Yep, the other day,
Yeah,
it
there's a
just
couple.
showed up, it's an odd
Yeah,
circumstance, there's
Yeah.
no culvert there or anything.
no, there's nothing,
Hmm.
but all of a sudden there's
Yeah.
holes in the blacktop and
Yeah.
it's starting to.
Yeah.
And that's
I don't-
relatively new, isn't it, through
Yeah,
there?
never saw that there before.
Yeah, there's a couple of them I noticed.
Yeah. Noticed it last week, it's the first time we noticed it.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
yeah, something
just-
under the road.
And typically that would be, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of times you'll see that with a culvert.
Yeah, or a stream or
Yeah,
some
but it's just,
underwater
it's in a
runoff.
random spot. I
Yeah,
don't
it is,
know.
yeah, it's kinda on the side,
Yeah.
but,
What if there's a spring or something right there?
I don't, there's no water.
yeah, there's
coming,
no water there,
just-
it's,
No.
cause I kinda looked around, I was
Yeah.
curious as to what was going on.
Yeah, we saw that and we're kinda,
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
really
there's a
mess
couple
with
of
it.
little good sized
Yeah.
holes, but it's starting to cave in, and you can, I didn't get a flashlight and look in there, but they're, it's that, I
You see
mean,
Tom going,
it's that kind of a hole, it is, I mean,
It-
it's a,
It's odd.
it's a hole, yeah, yeah, it's weird,
I know exactly what you're talking, it is a big mystery,
it is.
and I don't.
you get to go play detective then, I guess.
Hmm?
You get to go play detective.
Yeah, I
Yeah, but you
just
don't wanna
wonder,
dig it up.
you wonder what the, like I say, what caused it all of a sudden.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess that's the latest and greatest, you know. Got anything
yeah, I don't
over
have
yet?
anything else,
No,
kind of
all
it for
set.
me.
Guess we kinda beat that up for a while.
Yep. Alright,
Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
we'll
hey,
see
no
you guys.
problem, thanks for, I'm very satisfied with the contract we selected to,
Good,
this is a proven record.
Yep,
good. Thought we could work it out.
Yep, me too. Me too.
Alrighty. Well then, we'll move on to town business, and we're gonna pick up where we left off with regarding the,
Yeah, the
library,
ignition.
or the town hall AC.
Yep.
Right now, we've got, 89% left in the, but you'll probably need a good chunk of it for, the town hall roof.
Yep.
That being said, do we have, wanna take a few more dollars out of it and get this thing squared away?
Yeah, I think we should, yeah, cause, otherwise, if that unit becomes damaged, it's gonna cost us a lot more.
So if we take 16 grand off the total for the roof, then subtract another 5 for the garage door, we're still at 22.8, and deduct another 4
Well, we, we
for
got
material,
16, what was it, 16? Yeah, that was just for the extra on the.
for the warrant, and then 8 for the engineer,
Well,
and
remember we
then
still got-
another 5 for the, I'm just budgeting high, 5 for the material and labor to do the work, which I'm hoping it doesn't come in at that.
Yeah,
We're at
it could-
22.8, he's got a door that's gonna be repaired, that's about 4 grand, so that's be 18.2. So we're still just under 20 after the things that, we'd still be able to get some work done this year if we,
Yep. Absolutely. Well. What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
Well,
Yours.
I think it's, my personal opinion is, rather than having the town administrator call around for a bunch of other quotes,
Mhm.
that isn't gonna make a whole lot of difference. plus you're tying up a person's time
Mhm.
to get material, to come here and do the job. For $400, I think you might as well give it to this person.
Now that $400, is that including the painting, or is that just
Yeah,
the
paint.
construction, paint too?
Paint,
I would hold off on painting it, to me, if that's green lumber,
Mhm.
not paint it right away. You know, if they're gonna use, PT, right? 'Cause-
Yeah. Is that pressure treated here?
Yeah, I mean, I would think you'd wanna let it age a bit first.
But you may wanna check and make sure that he is painting it and that he can come back and paint it when you feel, when.
Yeah, no,
it's
I'm
dry.
understanding that, but
Mhm.
I'm just thinking, is it really prudent to, build it painted right off the bat?
Right.
That's really my question.
And I always understood PT to let it dry.
Yeah, that's
you
what I
know,
always thought
before
too.
you paint or seal or anything of that nature. Could be wrong, I've been wrong before.
Yeah.
Alright. Do you have any other thoughts on it?
No, I'm good, no, I'm fine.
Just,
My only
Go forward.
concern was just painting it right off the bat, if that makes sense, that's all.
I can talk to him about
I
it.
know, I know in my experience, I've just let it age, I never done anything to it, it is what it is, you know?
mhm.
But I'm just looking at the amount of time you're gonna invest to jump around to get prices, to try to get back together,
Mhm.
to get it done,
Yeah.
is, you don't meet for another 2 weeks. and
Oh, we
it
can
could be-
budget it.
It could be
No,
later
we-
in the summer, you
Yeah, but
know?
we can budget it, but I'm just wondering
Yeah.
if right off the bat is the time to do it. You know, do you budget it by having build the thing up, and then in the fall, or even in the fall, do it this
Mhm.
calendar year, and then paint it then maybe?
Still gonna cost
That's-
more because it's gonna cost them to come back out again.
You know, I don't know, I would just question whether or not it makes sense to paint it now. If it does, then do it, but if it doesn't, then don't.
Right, then have them get the materials and build the thing, and we pay them for that, and then in the
Yeah.
fall, paint it.
Cause I don't see the
install
point,
it.
yeah, I don't see the
once.
point in painting if the paint's not gonna bond. If the paint's gonna end up on the ground, you know what I mean, it's gonna wash off or flake off or.
I can ask
Fuel
him
off.
about
I
it.
mean, that's
It's all
my
latex now.
concern, it's all latex. And that's my question is whether it just makes sense to do
I'm
it.
not familiar with paint, I know we stained our pressure treated deck and it's lasted
Yeah.
18 years or
And,
so.
and that may be what he'll do on
Mhm.
the platform, you know, wherever you're putting the air conditioner
Right,
down,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah, I
And I
don't know.
don't know, and then they do have, primers you can use
Mm,
Yep.
that seal
Yeah.
and dry,
Yeah,
and he could paint, so I mean, you may get a flavor from him as to how he's gonna handle that,
right. Yeah, I don't know, I think it's just a question we should ask.
mhm.
you know?
So, I'd say by consensus, I wanna need a vote, just go forth and
Go forward.
Okay,
get her done.
thank you.
So we get this off, I mean, I think this is like the,
Now, who's gonna take care of contracting, cause that $400 doesn't include moving the unit itself.
right,
No, it
So
says it on
once-
there.
So
Yeah.
once he
Estimate.
gets the,
I'll get the estimate, he's got a licensed plumber that's
Oh, he
in
does,
Goffstown or that he
okay,
can give a holler
Alright.
and schedule something.
yes, yeah, it estimated another
Alright,
300
so-
to 400 to move it.
so another $400 maybe to move the unit.
I
Okay.
think it's not that
And
much.
to recharge it and what have you. So I'm guessing when you disconnect that, you gotta catch the freon.
Yeah, you gotta take and,
Of course,
Catch-
fully, I'd just
catch it
blow
all.
it off into the atmosphere, but that's me. Yeah, no,
we can't do that. Not legally,
yeah, cover it back, machine, do a lot of things.
suck it out, then
Yeah.
take and do what you gotta do, then you gotta take, put a vacuum back in the thing and.
Yeah, I know they
Then
gotta
they'll take
purge,
and
pump it.
recharge it.
Yep.
Alrighty, we're done with that then. We have a memorandum here, personnel matter, you wanna go into non-public afterwards on this or not?
No.
Okay.
I'm just an FYI, I'm acting on,
I don't know if you read this or
trying to
not.
move forward with,
Send it this way.
performance evaluations.
Yep.
Oh, good.
Oh, that reminds me, before I leave, I got a whole bunch on my thumb drive of different,
Examples?
examples,
Okay,
probably half a dozen or so.
which would apply to different departments.
Potentially some would be like law enforcement, but other just regular ones, I mean, so you can pick and choose and,
Okay.
different formats as well, so it
Okay.
might be.
I know the ones that I'm using now are from the local government center, so.
Yep, those are probably good.
Alright, we got a note here, that's a copy of correspondence to share with Board of Selectmen from the tax collector. I'll read it verbatim. You cheap bastards charged me $3,821.58 to have my road plowed, and you can't even supply a return envelope. Get a friggin' life. Richard Peroso, Barn Hill. So we got a happy taxpayer.
So what did you do?
We sent the tax bill.
From a tax bill and
It's typical that if you want a return receipt, you have to include
put a
it,
self-addressed.
a self-addressed
Stamped envelope.
envelope, stamped envelope.
Can I
So-
see that? There's something.
Just in the minutes, we just put, we got a personal note from Richard Peroso.
Okay. How you spell his last name, P-I-O-S-E?
It's where PR, was it P-R-O-S-O?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, you
R-O-I-S-O,
got
I
it in
think.
front of you.
Has this process begun?
Yeah, did you
Today.
see the reason why? So I've given him,
No, the date is right there, so.
Oh, yeah,
No,
no.
the reasons are in here.
Yeah, that's what I was just taking a look.
We have a,
So fast to that.
for the file. You can read it. The Dunbarton Ethics Committee gave us training hypotheticals for town officials, board members, so I assume this is for our edification, or is this just for our training, or?
well, it was
That's what they
informational,
use to train you with.
yep.
Okay.
I thought you guys might be interested in reading some of the cases that they use as example. And then it's followed by the code of ethics.
What should we do?
It's pretty straightforward, I think.
How many were we? There was one,
Oh, right, anyway.
two,
I think we
three,
threw it once before.
4, 5, 6, 7,
One for
8,
you.
9. 9 of us were here today.
Nice.
To attend that.
One for you, and one for me.
Okay.
We got the June, calendar.
Yep,
No meeting next week,
Good.
or the
Great.
23rd, which is good, cause I'm taking the 24th off and going to Colbert.
oh, that's
That
right.
works, yeah. Yeah, with chicken
Can I-
barbecue.
Can I bring something up now that you just reminded me?
Sure. Of course.
Our
No, you
personnel plan says that we have to put in a leave
Mhm.
request 2 weeks in advance. And I was planning on taking the 4th of July, but I just found out my son is coming in the
Mhm.
26th through the 6th of July.
Yeah,
So I wanna take that last week of June off,
oh, so you're gonna miss the board meeting?
yeah.
You're killing me.
Depending on how much there is to do, we might take the board meeting up too.
Yeah, I
That's
know,
not much.
I agree.
We could have 3 weeks off in a row.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's no business, I mean, it makes sense, I mean, like I said, you're just.
Well, what do we got coming up? When do we have to do our next thing for the Kelso Road thing? Is that at our discretion at this point?
Yes,
Yeah, so we don't have that coming up.
I mean, it's not on our agenda, I mean, we can.
Not until we hear
No, I'm
from
just-
Steve.
So we're waiting for him.
We're
Well, we
waiting
need to,
for-
we're supposed to review the material, whether we review it with him or ourselves individually.
So here's my suggestion, if we didn't have that as a board meeting that night, could it become a, work session to review the document
Yes,
package?
good,
If we choose to go that way, we're not gonna be around.
yeah, very well.
Do that
Just
as a-
tonight. Huh?
I mean, I can set it up so that you have everything you need.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking, you know, out loud here.
No, that's not bad, we.
'Cause what else is on the agenda that's coming up? We got the Souls thing. We got
It's all-
Kelso Road.
It's
That's-
in Steve's hands.
Yeah,
Right,
no, I know,
that's-
but those are things that are gonna come back,
Yeah,
that we need to do
I
something.
mean, we've got stuff on our docket here that,
Yeah, we didn't work on any of those things.
we got the, you know, like the on your bench, that's all based on town common policy, we're
Right.
getting done, job
Yeah.
descriptions we can work on, website upgrade we can work on.
Yeah, I mean, there are things we can work on
Ordinances,
if we want to turn it to work session instead of a meeting, if you will.
yep, disposition of municipal records committee, we gotta take and have a set of time and date for
Yeah.
that.
Unless something comes up in the meantime where we have to have a meeting if there's an urgent matter.
Right.
But otherwise, have, you know, still meet, but turn it into a work session
Right.
instead of a meeting.
Sounds like a plan.
Just an idea.
I like that idea, cause we're gonna get it done anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want, I hate to give up the night, that's all, cause
Mhm.
just, you know, just keep it going.
Yeah, we can do that.
okay. I'll take a
And-
look at the, work list and come up with something that I feel that you could
Yeah.
be productive on.
Yep.
Well, like the Kelsey Road stuff, I mean, we gotta go through what.
Yeah, we have to go through that, so I mean, that would be a good opportunity to sit there and
spread it all out and kinda try to map
Right.
it, you know.
And pick through it, not when we're distracted with trying to stay on a schedule for other things.
Mhm.
So, well, that's not a bad idea, I like that idea.
You want me to do that?
You know, we gotta get it.
It would actually be good to get
That's also
some
my
of this,
anniversary, I
Yeah.
think.
of the back done, so we're getting caught up.
40-some odd years.
I have a question, Brian.
Yeah.
Is this work type meeting, do you need me there?
Yep, it's an actual meeting, I mean, we
Yeah.
still have to keep minutes and stuff.
Yeah, you don't get the night off there,
Yeah,
lady.
It's pretty easy for you, cause it's, I mean, minutes are gonna be pretty simple, you know,
Yeah.
work session on this, on, you know, it's
Yeah.
not like you're gonna be taking detail like you are tonight, or so. I mean, we may have a small, if something comes up business-wise, we could have a small meeting and dive into a work session and just,
Right,
I just was curious.
yeah,
so.
okay, that works for me.
Alright, Stephanie Alexander has sent us, and it was via email, so I know you guys all got it, but I don't know if you read it or not.
Yeah, I think I
What
forwarded
was
it
that
to you.
Hazardous mitigation committee,
Oh, yes.
one that Jeff is just dying to be on.
Huh?
Hazard mitigation committee, it was,
It's an update.
it's an update, we have to do it by, FEMA is making us do it, we've got money through the Central New Hampshire Regional Planning Commission to do it. So, but to do that, we have to take and, appoint a hazardous mitigation committee and stakeholder. And propose the committee. So according to this, appointed hazard mitigation committee, looking for emergency management director, assistant emergency management director, staff coordinator, hazmat committee, town administrator, administrative assistant, fire chief, fire deputy, police chief, police sergeant, emergency medical, public works director, road agent, that'd be you. Building inspector, code enforcement, half these are gonna be John.
That's what I was thinking,
Yeah,
he's got many hats.
He was pretty involved in it last time.
he was, yep.
Town planner, we don't have one, do we?
Nope.
Wastewater department, we don't have, water treatment, we don't have, select board member, which one of us wants to be on this committee? Depends on when that's gonna be held, I guess, so.
Yep.
Conservation committee member, planning board member, and other town board department commission reps. So. Do we have to do this tonight, as in actually appoint people?
Oh, yeah, actually, she said that it was due, that's why I printed that out.
I would attach recommend hazard mitigation, was in consideration plan when I've been formed, and we have a meeting, one date set, you want to have identified stakeholders. And members of the public to specify to invite the meeting, FEMA wants a completely open and transparent process where anyone has the option to participate, we have to document everything in place, publicity, agendas, attendance sheets, etc. into a plan appendix.
Does this happen during the day, or is this a nighttime?
That's what, in the past, it's been during the day.
Yeah, it's
in the
gonna be
morning.
during the day.
Just like our
Right.
joint loss meetings.
Oh, I showed up at one of those
Yeah.
one time.
Yep.
Well, I happened to be in the area, but, yeah. Okay. Depends when they meet.
He's on vacation.
Doesn't it say that we
Attorney
have to
Mike's
have
house.
that information to her by like the 3rd June or something?
Doesn't say that here.
I thought I printed off all the paperwork.
Your town's goal is to appoint a solid long-term committee of 10 to 12 attending individuals, so it's gonna be, one of those things that's gonna be mandatory to attend, by the sound of it, because FEMA wants them. Wants us to
We
attend.
had to do it, that's the one before.
Yep.
And then there was a big to-do last year, how it expired.
Yeah,
Right, that's why they were doing
Yep.
it this year,
Yep.
but again,
It
it's
was a
almost,
big-
yeah, we
With
missed
that
the.
11th hour
Yeah.
meeting
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
because the thing had expired technically. But it
So
wasn't
we
supposed
should
to
talk
expire
about
until
that.
this year. It wasn't supposed to expire until 2016. For some reason, it was expired, I don't know what was up with that, but
just
it was a big
I think it's on that one right there.
to-do about
purpose
that.
of the permanent hazard investigation, oh, this is supposed to be a permanent hazardous mitigation committee for selectmen establishment. Okay,
You have to
So
have
they
that-
want a new committee formed is what they want.
They have to have that in place in order to get FEMA money.
Yes, the hazardous mitigation plan.
Yeah,
right, well, the key word that really kinda tweaks me a little here is the purpose of the permanent hazardous. Permanent to me means for now and in perpetuity.
yeah.
Forever.
I
So it's
think
a
the
new
document, the document itself has a signature page of all these individuals that they read and
The
acknowledge.
individuals would
Purpose of
rotate, but the
so
committee
let's see,
is.
development, update, and implementation of the town's hazard mitigation plans was provided by Federal Emergency Management, FEMA, This plan expires when 5 years approved, they must be maintained by the hazardous mitigation committee to ensure the town of Dunbarton remains eligible for federal mitigation grant funding opportunities. So, like, we have a bad snowstorm, they consider us a hazardous area in this county, we can get money
Yep.
and that kind of stuff. You know, an ice storm, whatever the case may be.
We have in the past.
Yeah, so if we wanna do it again, or get that money, which is probably in the best interest of our townspeople, we gotta do this. It doesn't say anything here as far as dates,
I thought I read something somewhere.
it might be on another email or something of that nature.
It's like usual, it's probably gonna be next week.
Probably.
It's like what it usually
Yes,
is.
That's the way she works, so.
Yeah, no, I know.
She can use this under the
Is that an
wire.
extra copy of your names, Kathy, that you have?
Sally,
Yes,
Central
here.
Regional
I'll send-
Planning.
No, this is
Case
just a
Living.
list of the positions.
But it's recommended
Yeah.
individuals.
Can you make me a copy?
I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
This is stakeholder public invitees, we don't need to do that yet, because we haven't got a meeting yet. Well, gentlemen, what's your thoughts, you wanna take and start penciling in names and? No?
Yeah, we can.
Could we get a copy or two, so we can just, you know, cause my scratching is probably not as gonna be nice as either you typing it or whatnot, or you might wanna write your own. So, on this, before we get to ours, who wants to take and do it for our side, anybody? Take a look.
Well, it's during the daytime, it's a problem.
I mean, I could take time and do it myself, if need be, I mean, I don't know what your schedule is
Yeah,
like.
see, my thing is, it all depends what day, cause I sit on 2 different state committees that I participate in.
Mhm.
Then you
So-
would, we'd have to prioritize around your schedule.